We have a powerful morning ahead of us. Well, Zelensky has a huge problem. The thing is, those very protests have been going on for several weeks in a row now. And now they're personal against him. If before those same cardboard Maidan protesters were shouting, "Fyodorov, bring him back," now some of them, by the way, were shouting Fyodorov, Fyodorovich, apparently not even knowing who's Fyodorov, the former defense minister, and who's Yanukovych, the former or current president.
In general, it all depends on how you look at it.
And now they're chanting Ilya out. And that's exactly what they're saying. Let's take a look, subscribe, and let's go. Look what's happening here. In Kiev, and by the way, in Odessa and some other cities, there was another protest in support of Mikhail Fyodorov. This wonderful man, the head of the Ministry of Defense, the very same cardboard people want him to be brought back. However, when asked, they get confused, sometimes they don't even know who he is, and some don't know what he did. Some just don't know. The position of this Minister of Defense or Minister of something, President and all that. Honestly, it's so confusing here, even the devil would get lost. Mass rallies for the reinstatement of Fyodorov to his position continued in Kiev on Sunday and beyond, and they are still happening today. And thousands of people gathered at the events. The protest column stretched for hundreds of meters along the central streets of the capital. Some journalists showed up here. Observers say that there were mostly young people there. Recent decisions by Ukraine to appoint Umerov as the head of the Foreign Intelligence Service. They wanted to bring Fyodorov back. On top of that, this very Kim, who is well known to many, is also being considered for the position of Minister for Veterans Affairs of Ukraine. Well, they shout all sorts of things, saying it's not good to rush into Europe, just like those Maidan supporters are shouting. And there are also some slogans there, which I will show you because for some reason journalists don't show these particular slogans. It's unclear why. Odessa, August 16th, or rather August 18th, no, they shout the following. Did someone shoot or what happened? That's how things are. So it turns out that now they've openly spoken out against Zelensky, whereas before, as soon as you come out for peace or try to do something against Zelensky, they grab you and haul you off to a Kiev jail. Not a Siberian one, but still. Now the whole crowd is shouting, and nothing is being done. Although recently one of the administrators of the Telegram channels, which told people where to go, what to bring and how to get there, was also hauled away. So there's democracy here. Zelensky was speaking there. You see, we have democracy here with a bit of a smirk, like here in Ukraine, we can speak out. Still, for some reason, the organizers are being quietly detained. New organizers appear, apparently not by accident either. But overall, these are clearly tough times for Zelensky. Even though he himself did not put forward candidates for defense minister and foreign minister. The powerful Sibiga, this guy with a portable armored vehicle on his head and who can speak just like a native from the very depths of London, or even more so, Liverpool. In short, nothing's come together yet. And this means that Zelensky no longer has any candidates. Some refuse, some are so smart that they are not suitable for this position. So, Sibiha, goodbye. The thing is, well, all this mass that rose from the bottom, that climbed the social ladder of the counter-revolution, so to speak. Basically, the Maidan Nezalezhnosti, there are hardly any educated people there. Mostly, it's these people who showed up. The ones who swear, who can't put two words together, even without swearing, and with swearing they can maybe put three together, but it still doesn't come out the way they meant. And in the end, competence is necessary, but you don't even see it in those who seem to be a bit more capable. I'm joking about the native speaker thing, but how can a foreign minister not know English? Or like that General Zaluzhny, the former one, who is now the ambassador of Ukraine to the UK, he also doesn't know English. He tries to say something in English there, but that's just not right. And okay, the language, that's not even the main issue. But if, for example, you're responsible for the country's energy infrastructure and you don't understand it at all, you have no idea about it, And you have no idea about it because you were just put there, you got the position through connections. Yesterday you were sitting on a bench, drinking beer with some local friends. And today you're already there, some kind of minister or deputy minister or advisor, and you try your hardest. Make yourself a nice beard, buy yourself an expensive military uniform, do a couple of videos as if you're from the front, splash and mud on your face. But you don't become more competent, you just get bigger, but the interoral ganglion somehow doesn't progress. There's no movement. And your IQ doesn't grow along with your face. That's why Zelensky has difficulties. Look, and here Ptah and I are still puzzled by Juan's stubbornness. The thing is, on Tuesday, August 18th, the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine will not yet consider the appointment of new ministers of defense and foreign affairs. We honestly can't understand how a country at war can be without a minister of foreign affairs and a minister of defense.
What on earth is going on? How is this possible? How can this even be?
Well, we're told that Zelensky hasn't yet presented nominees for those posts. On top of that, the Rada has gone on vacation until August 18. By the way, it's not just the Rada that's happy to be on break. There's one like that in Germany too, Friedrich Merz. So he was recently talking about how all of this is connected. Don't think I am getting off track. Everything is connected. It's just similar to our people and our powerful leaders. So Friedrich Merz said that difficult times have come. Remember, yes, like Gorbachev used to say, we will have to tighten our belts. And after 20 years, the era of prosperity is over. It's time, so to speak, to come back down to earth. At the same time, he himself doesn't want to come back down to earth. And while he was giving his hour-long speech to the Germans about how everyone needs to work harder, after he finished telling them all that, what did he do? That's right, he went on vacation for a month. Well, that's how they are, all of them, you see. Practically in any of those well-known countries like France, Germany or the UK, well, they say one thing, do another, and end up with something else. I mean, nothing works out. Nothing at all. As one great and famous person once said, effective management. We are proud of our work, but it didn't bring any results. That's exactly how it turns out for them too. Friedrich Merz and his party have their ratings at an all-time low. Of course, Zelensky ratings are shown as extremely high, almost reaching Alpha Centauri. But in reality, it's about 13%. And nothing good is coming out of this. Well, apparently, no. Sources told journalists that at the moment there may not be enough votes in parliament for Yevgeny Khmara, who is currently serving as the acting Minister of Defense of Ukraine. The reason in particular is the public disagreement with the resignation of Mikhail Fedorov from this position. For some deputies, it's not a question of being for or against Khmara. It's about opposing Fedorov. You get where this is going, right? That's the kind of behind-the-scenes scheming we have there. Many are calling for Fedorov's return, which is difficult to ignore, said a servant of the people representative. This faction has been serving the people for quite a while now, as Ukrainians say. It's been 7 years. For the 7th year, once again, their faces keep getting bigger, unlike the thing between their ears. And nothing good comes of it for us. What it brings them are vacations, idle stories about what's going on with lowering the mobilization age. By the way, I'll show you one of these wonderful deputies right now. This is Sychuk, the one I often show. By the way, he somehow stopped lashing out at the viewer. I don't know, maybe someone told him what it looks like. Before, when he spoke, he used to direct his face almost every time he made an exclamation right into your face. He did something with his lips and teeth. But really, of course, now he's going to gnaw your face off. Remember that movie, right? Well, now he stopped doing that. Yet his appeals remain just as savage. You didn't know that.
Can we lower the mobilization? I personally already have. Well, yes, you personally. I voted. You would have voted. Look, I support my colleague, maybe also because...
Sychuk is sitting there with his hairstyle, sitting in a clearly not cheap jacket and a t-shirt. And he's talking about how he would have voted to lower the mobilization age. So basically he is not even against sacrificing about 1,100 or 1,200 human lives there. For what purpose? just to sit in the studio and passionately talk about how we should fight for the motherland. We will bite into the enemy's flesh with our teeth.
Also, I'm a bit older now. I'm already 55.
And you could say, why am I not at the front? Well, 60 is kind of the limit. And at 55, well, you're a deputy, so be an example. Say, yes, my mandate gives me the right not to be drafted into the army. But still, I urge you, go there, even just as a volunteer, on the 10th line of defense. But he doesn't even do that. The same goes for this Tuco, and also for Amelian, who actually ran away, and now there's a criminal case against him. Damn it, that Bereza also ran away a long time ago. And now he is surprised? How come? My channel got blocked in Ukraine. Ugh. And before, he used to shout with joy when the channels of other, you could say, opposition members, or not just could say, but some real opposition members of the official party were being blocked. Not only were they blocked, but they were also thrown straight in there, deep inside. Yes, into those Siberian prisons. Now Bereza is running around shouting about injustice and dictatorship. Where was he before? Clearly, he was just focused on his bank account, probably because he liked what he saw. Alright, let's listen to Sechuk.
But I understand very well that in war, the one who wins, who survives, is the one who runs faster, digs faster, can carry more, and, well, sees better. And in drone work, there's a huge difference between the guys there.
Oh, Dicky with thin arms, mighty, look, what an armchair warrior. He used to claim that he had already commanded half of the Ukrainian front there. Went from being some kind of commander of 3 bio-toilets to all sorts of bigger positions. He almost commanded all of Azov. Well, and now, folding his thin little hands, he tells stories. He used to say that those who dodge the army should be punished, practically shot. He used to say that weapons should be given to the TCC guys, and there should be regulations for shooting at civilians. That's what the character in the t-shirt was saying, not me.
Guys, we were there, I don't know, 20, 25, and 45, 50 or 55.
Let's hear everyone's thoughts. And you, Roman?
Do you favor lowering the mobilization age?
No, I'm not ready to back lowering the mobilization age. Well, after that, basically, they started having arguments among themselves. The Lawmaker really does not support it. Also, dissatisfaction with the current situation is also growing among lawmakers. Some of them, well, I don't really know why. Maybe some of them are actually decent people. Maybe some of them stopped getting money from this servant of the people. Or maybe some of them have criminal cases opened against them. Honestly, I don't know, it's hard to guess. But for example, there was a deputy, I think Kharkovskaya was glad, but I could be wrong. Well, I completely agree with every word. Let's listen to what he says.
We will strike their depots, they will strike our depots, our cities, our people. We don't have our own anti-ballistic systems, we don't have Patriot systems, we don't have the license, and maybe we won't, or if we do, it might be in 5 years.
Well, that's what I was saying too. I mean, this exchange of strikes will end up the way it's always been known. While the fat one is only losing weight, the skinny one dies. Well, that's how it's always been, really. People don't just come up with these sayings and proverbs for no reason. And the fact that Ukraine has destroyed some oil refineries there, or some were shut down because of the strikes, or that warehouses at Wildberries are being destroyed, or some cargo ships are being destroyed, well, that's because Ukraine is a bit smaller. And if you hit one of those warehouses at Wildberries, yes, there are problems, but they somehow get absorbed because of the sheer scale of the state. But for example, Epicenter got hit, or Silpo warehouses got hit. Then suddenly there aren't enough goods in the supermarkets. I showed you in the last video how Tuka was trying this guy who dances, Tanya Stuki, a strong old man. He was saying that there's nothing like that. I went to some supermarket. He came there and there were products. But then his journalist, and she's from the telethon side, not some opposition outlet, says, "Grandpa, why don't you look around here? Maybe you forgot your pills. And I'll tell you what's really going on." And she says, "I was in 2 supermarkets, and there really weren't any products there." And he goes, "Oh, well, I don't control the whole picture." So why are you mumbling then, if you don't control the whole picture? Juan and I are baffled again. It's just crazy. The sombrero is smaller.
These 5 years will be falling on all our heads, killing our children. Are you going to keep your children in the country with such a future ahead?
We're in Kiev right now, and for us,
My children are in Kiev now, but in the 5th year of the war, my daughter is finishing school. And I tell her, daughter, leave this place. Because you need to build your life, not live in war.
And, well, completely logically, I mean, I am not being sarcastic at all. The person explained everything clearly. Well, that's what I just told you. Yes, you understand this yourselves, dear viewers, but I just remember what I voiced. And your thoughts I can only read in the comments. And you also wrote there that if these bombings continue for years, then how can we even talk about the future? It's better at home. Well, yes. And now they're already telling kids fresh out of school, listen, let's go there. By the way, if I had kids and they lived there in Ukraine, I would have long ago told them, guys, what are you doing there, really? Let's move to another country or something. There's another person, I don't even know who it is, who basically says the same thing, but not about kids. More about how winter is going to be just brutal. Last winter was harsh, and this one will be worse.
You need to think about the fact that tomorrow there might be no power, no electricity, no heating. What are you going to do?
So tell me, how should we take it when government officials say everything will be hard, stock up on generators, but what are they doing themselves?
Well, that's a good question too. We've discussed this more than once. Right now, almost all the combined heat and power plants, last winter, as far as I remember, there wasn't a single one that wasn't affected by shelling. During this time, some of them were restored, some were just patched up a bit, but still, there are a lot fewer of them left. First, it's already known where they are located. Second, you can't move a combined heat and power plant just because someone knows its location. Well, and the authorities say, again, these deputies, those pathetic deputies come out and say, together with Kuleba, by the way, that let's get these EcoFlow things ready, let's get the generators. But people don't have any money. It's you who have plenty of money, because the money gets funneled to you. It's kind of strange, but people don't have money to buy generators or batteries. If you take an external battery for your phone, it won't help you at all. Well, the deputies don't understand that.
And how can they provide you with decentralized generators?
To somehow protect combined heat and power plants from shelling.
Yes, that's impossible.
That's unrealistic.
They'll destroy them in November, maybe in October.
So what should we do then?
Generators, inverters, solar panels, and it's very important that we don't have the kind of frosts we had last year.
Well, actually, they say this winter is going to be especially harsh. There's some kind of correlation with a 70% probability. I think I read an article about it the day before yesterday. Something semi-scientific, popular science, let's say. So it said that if there are 2 years in a row of droughts, and there have been droughts in most places, and very high temperatures, it all ends up turning into a very cold winter, because the humidity is low. There are some correlations, but I can't remember exactly. But they say it's going to be really tough. And what to do, where to run in such a situation is still unclear. Well, Zelensky on one hand says if the planes fly, we'll bomb. But on the other hand, the last time they fired Patriots was 10 weeks ago. 10 weeks ago. Just think about it. That's somewhere at the end of May, roughly. So there are no missiles, no air defense. These systems, each costing $1 billion, are just standing there rusting. They say, look at it, it's rusty. Well, or maybe it's just painted to look rusty. But in my opinion, nobody really needs it. And these systems remain unused. Here they show them and say, look, they're empty. Journalists saw 16 Patriot launches. That's 16 billion, I think, but I could be wrong. 10 weeks ago. And at the same time, Zelensky posts pictures saying, we'll keep warm in winter from burning warehouses in Russia.
Where's their common sense?
Well, we know where it is, but let's not go there. Fedorov suddenly appeared and started talking about when Ukraine will get its own ballistic missiles. On one hand, we're told that these flamingos are flying and bombing. They've already bombed half a world. On the other hand, Fedorov comes out and talks about ballistic missiles. About ballistic missiles for Shchenema. He says that we're talking about a time frame of about 6 months. So if this Miller, or whatever his name is, yes you, Davidov is his last name. For some reason, he took that last name, Miller, I think. I forgot why. Or Schweiler, well, something like that. Anyway, the head of this flamingo said that the flamingos are already flying. They showed a video of how they fly, where they fly, explosions, and here's Fedorov. Well, he seems like a more competent person because he is a former defense minister, but come on. This is no small thing. He says that they'll have ballistic missiles in 6 months. Not weeks, not days, months. So, who should we believe? Honestly, I don't trust either of them. I don't believe it. In my opinion, there is no ballistic capability there at all, and they're just using British jet drones. They have their own plans there, basically. And on top of that, they're already telling us that the gas shutdown schedules are ready. This winter, Ukraine is facing exactly that. And you know, if you have blocks with the letters ZH, P, O, and A on them, then please try to make the word happiness out of them. Well, we'll be putting together happiness for a very long time, because both Odessa, Mykolaiv, and many other cities are at risk. Russia, strangely enough, is increasing its strikes on the energy infrastructure. Since the start of the year, there have been 293 attacks. This winter, Kiev, Odessa, and Kharkiv will have 2-week lockdowns, more severe than last winter. On top of that, they are saying that not all regions will have gas this winter. Honestly, there's not much point in even reading the details because, well, it's just brutal. If there's no heat or energy, the pumping station stops, everything freezes, and the sewage system fails. There will be no water. And how are you supposed to live with all this in the middle of winter, even if it's just -3, not -20? But last winter, there were cases of people dying from hypothermia. There, yes, heart attacks were mostly to blame. But still, people, it's not like everyone turns into icicles. Usually the heart can't take it, because it keeps pumping blood through the body until the very end. The colder it gets, the harder it tries. And at the moment of their death, most people freeze. People often try to take off their clothes because they feel very hot. That's because the heart is working at its absolute limit. Many are found half-dressed, and then people wonder what's going on, thinking the person went crazy. No, it's just that it gets to that point. And what to do is unclear. I mean, in general it's clear, but specifically, as the song goes, it's tough. Well, let's take a look at some powerful leaders too. Supposedly we didn't have enough of them, but there are still some who haven't spoken yet. So let's listen to them. Here we have, for example, this character, a former law enforcement officer. And he is telling us how everything is bad in Russia. Supposedly, even if things get terrible, like it would make things easier for Ukraine, the attacks don't stop.
Listen, well, this is a sign that things are really bad for them. Because if everything was fine, they definitely wouldn't be trying to rely on help from this kind of people. That's one. Secondly, well, they're clearly running out of missiles. They're obviously running out of missiles, especially missiles from that system we see. That's the biggest problem.
He got lost in something simple and lost his train of thought. I forgot everything I wanted to say. What kind of grenades are those? Not the right model? It's absolutely impossible to understand. Well, in short, a top-class specialist. Well, and then there's General Ukhilianta, that same Krivonis, who lives in Warsaw and hasn't served since 2021. With his manly beard and face. Broad. He explains what to do with civilians who resist the TCC and don't want to die. But let's hear from the combat general in Warsaw. Fighting with what? Probably Zubrovka. Apparently he's doing well. On the channel we see here.
We see a huge number of videos about people's actions against the independence of Ukraine. When we see how and who attacks TCC employees and calls them scoundrels, a bullet in the knee, and then in the head.
Well, what do you think of the combat general? He says that anyone who goes after the TCC is a problem, while the TCC guys are sweethearts, in his opinion. Well, because a person who has been abroad for months or even a year probably just watches videos on YouTube. You have to spend your free time somewhere. He also discussed what to do with civilians. You heard that. What do you think of combat generals who are meant to protect people? Wonderful. I think it's wonderful. The deeper you dig, the weirder it gets, but, well, that's how it is. Juan and I aren't saying goodbye just yet. Write in the comments what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye everyone!
There is no such thing as hunger or food shortages. That doesn't happen. If you were in Ukraine and couldn't find bread anywhere at all, that just wouldn't happen.
I'm 200% sure about that. And why am I so confident?
Our father is Bandera, Ukraine is our mother, we will fight for Ukraine.